everyone, back at the More YouTube channel. It's Chris back with a match preview for Newcastle United's upcoming game this Saturday. Early kickoff this time, 12:30, down in London against Spurs at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So this is another one of these big games, as we said, that was coming over the line. The big three games have already finished, two of them, smashing Villa, beating Manchester United with comfort and ease. Really should have been 5 or 6-0, never mind 2-0. And Spurs is the last one of these big three to kind of take us into our Premier League difficult fixture period, if you will. And Newcastle have come through in flying colours so far. We're sitting in 5th in the table, way ahead of Spurs, I think, currently sitting 11th, who have had some difficult times, definitely this season. Spurs and Newcastle seasons have kind of mirrored each other a little bit, but we seem to have pulled away and found form, whereas Spurs seem to find form one week and then struggle the next, and then form, then struggle, and form, then struggle. Very Spursy, as they are, to be fair. But we'll get stuck right into this, talk a little bit about how I think the guys are going to line up. I've got some big blows in the team in terms of people missing out, but we're going to talk about it as best as we can. Put our proposed lineup up the line. We'll probably think Eddie Howe's going to go for. Talk a bit about Spurs as well, who their danger men are. There are some danger men there, definitely. This is not a home banker by any stretch of the imagination. Still got some quality players on show. Newcastle will have to rock up here and be at their very best. So if that's the kind of thing you guys like, smash subscribe, help get us to the next milestone, which will be 10K for us. We've flown past 9,000 subscribers in 2024. I haven't even said, I've already been talking for a couple of minutes. Happy New Year to you all, by the way. I hope you had a fantastic New Year's Eve, whatever you were doing, whether you were sat on the sofa with a takeaway, whether you were out kicking your heels up. I hope you had a belter, and let's all look forward to a good 2025 for all of us, especially Newcastle United. Maybe not you, Spurs, but Newcastle United for damn sure. Yeah, so let's get stuck in and tell you how we think the guys are going to line up. So it's pretty easy in terms of the changes, I think. Eddie Howe probably wouldn't want to change a win inside. I don't think he'll do anything ridiculous. It's just literally the bad news for us will be Fabian Schär missing out through suspension, which he's so unlucky about. No wonder he was so livid at Old Trafford. He got the yellow card from grappling with Højlund. I think him and Højlund had a really good grapple all night. Højlund did quite well, to be fair, given the fact Man U were dog shit. And Schär just managed to get hold of him a bit too long, got a yellow card. The reason he was so mad is if he got through that game against Manchester United, that was the cut-off point where all the yellow cards are rescinded and resets again. So Sandro Tonali, thankfully, didn't get booked in that game, so he wasn't suspended for the Spurs game, but Schär did get booked, so he's now suspended not just for Spurs, I think for Arsenal as well in the Cup, which is really, really difficult for us to deal with. So that's going to be a big loss for us. January's coming up, the window's open. As of right now, we need to look at that right side of the centre-back position, definitely in my opinion. But I think Lloyd Kelly will come into the back four alongside Dan Burn, who again was colossal against Manchester United at Old Trafford. They didn't offer a great deal, but whatever they did offer, Dan Burn sniffed it out with great quality as well, and just proper, old-fashioned blood and guts centre-half play, really. The lad has been brilliant this season. He had a lot of stick last season for playing in left-back, but it wasn't his position. We were all shouting for all these people who are giving people abuse. Where's the Eddie Howe out crew now? Well, the Eddie Howe out crew were one of the ones who were massively frustrated. They kept playing Dan Burn out of position and leaving him exposed. Move him inside. Look how good he is as a centre-half. He's got years ahead of him as a Premier League centre-half. So Dan Burn has been fantastic for us, a consummate performer. He'll definitely be in the side alongside Kelly. I do worry about Kelly and what we've seen of him so far. A little bit shaky, a little bit bad positionally. Fox around a bit too much for back there for me, but he's going to have to be in a good game here because Spurs have got some threat in their attacking third, which we'll talk about in a minute. But the rest of the team will be pretty much unchanged, I think, in my opinion there. That midfield three looking to dominate again. Spurs missing a huge player in midfield as well, which we'll come on to in a second, which could be massive for us in this game. And then obviously we're going to have the main front three as well. Alexander Isak, who's on top form. He absolutely is on fire at the minute. He's arguably the best centre forward in the league, if not one of them in the world, to be honest with you. No wonder everyone's sniffing around him, but he's our player and hopefully will remain our player for years to come. Gordon looks back to his best and Jacob Murphy's continuing a rich vein of form. No coincidence, Jacob Murphy's starting to play very well. Now the window's open, the right winger was a priority for us. Loads of talking Mickey Almiron leaving, so I think there will be a right winger coming in. Could be competition for Jacob to keep his place, and that is something that's brilliant for Newcastle. Healthy competition breeds better performances from the squad. That's the issue we had in the past. Get some of the players in and let's make sure the lads are playing at the top of the game to keep their spot in the team. And if not, somebody else is there to step in and do a great job as well. But as I said before, Spurs are no mugs. There's no doubt about it. In terms of going into this form guide, we're 5th and they're 11th. We're on 32 points. They're on 24. In terms of the fixtures going into this, they've had an absolute mare going into this performance. So their last 3 games, they haven't won in the last 3 games. They got beat by Liverpool 6-3. They got beat by Forest 1-0, who are on fire this season, and they drew with a Desmond 2-2 against Wolves at home in the last fixture. Contrast to Newcastle United, who smashed Ipswich 4-0 away from home Aston Villa 3-0 at St James's Park, and then beat Manchester United with comfort 2-0 at Old Trafford. So we are definitely the form team going into this game. There is no doubt about that, in my opinion. Weirdly enough, this is actually the most played fixture in the Premier League ever. Sorry, to never finish 0-0, I beg your pardon. It's the most played fixture that's never finished 0-0. So there's been 59 meetings and there's been 189 goals in the games between the sides. It's just the third highest scored fixture in Premier League history. So I wouldn't bank on a 0-0. Now, it's probably going to be 0-0 now, so that'll be fair. But I wouldn't bank on a 0-0. I'll tell you what my score is going to be in a minute. But in terms of the kind of overall head-to-head there, so out of 150 games against them in all competitions, we've won 54, they've won 66, and there's been 30 drawn as well. So the record isn't too bad for us at this ground. You know, we went through a phase of not being able to win in London for quite some time, and that seems to have disappeared from our back now. That hoodoo has gone a little bit. So I'm quite happy with Newcastle United going away from home these days. Certainly the form they're in, as I said before, in terms of the CBA, confidence, belief, and execution. That's what the lads are doing right now, and there's no reason why they won't rock up the Spurs Stadium. I don't know what it's called. Let's call it the Spurs Stadium. Is that what it's called? I'm just trying to see if there's actually a name for the fucking thing. Is it the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? I think it is, as far as I know. Yeah, the venue, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That's what it's called. So I'm surprised no one's not bought the name right to that, because it's a magnificent stadium, to be fair. If you've ever been, it's an unbelievable stadium. But going back to the fixture itself, it's the early kickoff. I think Newcastle United will go into this game full of confidence, ready to go. But Spurs have got something to prove to the fans. The fans are going to be pissed off with a season kind of going off the rails. There's loads of pressure on Ange Postecoglou. He is missing some players through injury, absolutely. I mean, looking at their injury list, it is quite significant. I mean, they're missing the goalkeeper, Vicario, who's been out with an ankle injury for quite some time. He's not scheduled to come back until March, I believe it is. And actually, Newcastle United goalkeeper Fraser Forster has been filling in. I wouldn't say admirably, to be fair, given the fact he's like 6'8" or something like that. He has conceded a lot of shady goals recently. I do like Fraser Forster, but I think he's probably at the back end of his career. He shouldn't really be starting games for Champions League chasing sides in the Premier League anymore. Richarlison is out as well. He's got a scheduled return date, I think, for the 15th of January. Yeah, that's a great date. Somebody's birthday. Ben Davies is also back then as well. Bentancur missing is the big one. So Bentancur, much like Fabian Schär, got 5 yellow cards in the book against Wolves, and he's now suspended for this game, which is absolutely brilliant for us. It really, really is. He is a massive player for them in midfield, somebody who would try and get in amongst Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton and Tonali, mix it up. He's a good player. Him missing is a huge thing for us. It really, really is. And at the back as well, they've been missing Mickey van de Ven, who we know Isaac loves to turn inside out, but is a good defender with pace. And Christian Romero, as much as he's a bit of a head case, is a solid centre-half. So Spurs have been playing very much with a fill-in centre-half. This was how they set up against Wolves in the last game. So they had Fraser Forster in goal, obviously Porro and Destiny Udogie, who went off injured as well, who may be a doubt for this game as well. So that's another player that they're missing going into this fixture against a really dangerous Newcastle United side. But they had Dragusin, who looks like an extra from Highlander, and young Archie Gray at the back against Wolves. And they had a tough time, it must be said, against Wolves. Juan giving them a bit of a run around, in that particular fixture. And there was gaps there behind. They looked a little bit shaky at the back, and to come up against the most informed striker in the league in the shape of Alexander Isak is not something you want your patched-up centre-halves to be. Bentancur scored a goal, but he's missing in this fixture. Ben Basuma is in there as well. He's a talented player as well, but I don't think you can hang with Tonali, Bruno and Joe Linton. I don't think he's at that level. At one point, I did think he was at that level, but I think they'll run rings around him, they'll pass around him. I don't know who his midfield partner will be that will come in, but I just don't think they're going to be strong enough to deal with our midfield three. And then they had the kind of front four, if you will. So you had across, you got Heung-min Son, who is still a good player, but he's not the player that he once was. In terms of his stats this season, in 16 appearances, he's got 5 goals in the Premier League and 6 assists. He's still a danger. He still has quality, but he's slowing down a bit with his pace. He's not particularly the match-winning superstar that he used to be. I think his better years are behind him. Kulusevski got an assist and is a dangerous player, likes to pick up those little pockets of space, can do some damage as well. But I think we've got enough to deal with these players. Brennan Johnson's in brilliant form this season. He's lightning quick as well. In terms of the players that he'll be up against, I think obviously Tino Livramento is going to be in our starting lineup there. As I said before, he'll be in for Trippier, who obviously pulled up with a hammy at the Old Trafford fixture, which was a shame because he was playing quite well, Trips, to be fair. But I think Tino's got the pace to deal with Brennan Johnson, so I wouldn't be particularly concerned about that, in all fairness. But he's got 7 goals and 2 assists in his 19 Premier League appearances. And Dominic Solanke leading the line. He started off quite slow. Dominic Solanke, he's got 6 goals in 16 games and 3 assists. And some of his goals have been fucking superb, to be brutally honest with you. He is a decent player. He was nowhere near worth the money that Spurs shelled out for him, to be fair. Which I'm glad we didn't, because we were reportedly interested in, weren't we? As we would be any former Bournemouth or current Bournemouth player by judging by most of the media. But I'm glad we didn't sign him. But in terms of the other players that could be a danger, James Maddison's always a danger. He came off the bench at the weekend as well. In terms of that Wolves game, he couldn't quite impact the game and really make anything happen there. But we know Maddison has those moments where he's able to do things and create real, chances and goals and everything else as well. And Maddison does worry me a little bit, because he's that kind of a player who likes to show up against us and he likes to do some damage. But in terms of Spurs missing those players, those key players, the goalkeeper, the 2 centre halves, Bentancur as well, maybe Destiny Udogie at fullback as well. I think that's really, really bad for Spurs coming into this fixture, because Newcastle are in such good form, look so dangerous, look such a threat going into this fixture. And I really think, I wouldn't say I'm as confident as I was in the Manchester United game. I was so confident because they are absolutely a shambles at the moment, rightly so. People talking about relegation battles for them because they've got no spirit, no confidence, no quality, no belief in each other or even the manager either. He's only been there for 5 minutes. That club is absolutely crumbling at the seams. And sorry, Rio Ferdinand, you leave yourself open for Newcastle fans to have a dig at me after the shit you gave us about Mike Ashley all over the years, buddy lad. People don't forget that. But going back to this fixture with Spurs, Spurs are Spursy. There's no way to sit here with confidence and say, yeah, we'll beat them. That's a piece of piss. They're going to crumble, right? The Spurs will turn up and they're either absolutely brilliant or they're dog shit. There's no happy grey area for Spurs. Spurs fans will probably agree with me in the comments about that as well. That's why people say Spursy. But I just think the way that Spurs are playing, the lack of confidence that they've had off the last few fixtures, the way that we're starting games, the way that we're turning up that intensity, pressing high, trying to get in front early on, like we have done in the last 4 or 5 games. I think Newcastle United will go into this game and look for the points, look for maximum points, and try and just basically do what they did against Manchester United, really blow them away in the first half an hour, 40 minutes, then just stop and sit, and then let Spurs try and come on to them and just try and control the game. So I say this with a little bit of caution. I don't want to sound too cocky, but I think Newcastle United will win this game 2-1. I think it'll be a tighter fixture. The Manchester United one wasn't anyway. I know it was only 2-0, but that should have been 4-5-0 in the first half. But I think Spurs do have the capabilities and the quality still on the pitch to pull something out of nothing. And I wouldn't sit here with maximum confidence saying we're going to batter Spurs. But I think for me, I fancy Newcastle. I think we're the informed team. We've got the informed players, the hot property in terms of the strike up front, Alexander Isak. The wingers look strong. The midfield looks fantastic. There's great balance at the back. Missing Shearer is a huge blow. It really, really is. But I think Lloyd Kelly will come in and probably do an all right job. I know people don't like the 2 left-footed centre-halves. I don't know if Eddie likes the 2 left-footed centre-halves, but there's no other options because Lascelles is out. Botman's too early for Botman. He will not start this game. He might be on the bench. So, I mean, if Kelly does have a fucking man, maybe Botman will get dragged onto the pitch. But I think that Newcastle will have enough, even without Shearer, to get the win in this game. So I'm going to go for Newcastle United 2 and Spurs 1. Let us know in the comments below what you guys think about the fixture. What do you agree with the lineup? What do you think about Spurs? Are you concerned about them? Do you think they'll cause us more damage than I'm giving them credit for? Or do you think, again, this machine is going to keep rolling on in the shape of Newcastle United and get another big scalp in the quest for Champions League football? We need this to continue. There's massive games coming at the start of 2025 that could define our entire season. Let's hope the lads continue in this great vein of form. I'm confident they will. I'll be back with a post-match analysis on Saturday after the game, hopefully smiling again as Newcastle United have got another 3 points and keep marching on into that top 4 of the Premier League. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a belt and Happy New Year once again. See you later.